G'day everyone, James McIntyre here again. Today we're going to be talking about effective use of data, basically protecting what really matters. Because if you put the wrong data into an LLM, into something like ChatGPT or any other large language model, any other AI, we know that it can help boost productivity, but it could be a potential lawsuit, you could be embarrassment, you could hurt people and companies, and you could even get fired by not doing it correctly. So all data is not created equal. So today I'm going to give you some specific examples about the difference between the crown jewels, private data, and public data. So the crown jewels, these are things like people talk about member health records. We actually do have some HIPAA data at many YMCAs, but even if it's just something in passing, if someone said, hey, I've got pre-diabetes and I'd like to lose 10 pounds, that's probably not something that we want to be sort of putting their name, address, telephone number into a list of potentially has diabetes and uploading it to ChatGPT or something like that. What about financial data? So bank accounts, payroll information, salaries, financial transaction records. You probably do not want to put any of that up there because that, again, don't put anything into an email you don't want on the front page of the Wall Street Journal. Don't put anything into an AI that you don't want on the front page of the Wall Street Journal either. Strategic plans. We'll publish our strategic plans once we've got them finished, but we don't want to basically talk about long-term strategic initiatives as we're negotiating them with partners because we don't want them to fall through. Those are the types of things you do not want to be put up there as well. Legal documents. So that should probably go without saying. Contracts, litigation documents, the strategies you will use as you're being litigated or as you are litigating, don't put that stuff up there. Donor information. Detailed donor records. I can walk into any YMCA and I can see who the major donors are. I can walk into any major not-for-profit like the ballet or the Shakespeare Theatre and we'll have a donor wall talking about who has donated money. But there's a very big difference between seeing those things and me uploading a list with the name, telephone numbers, addresses, email addresses, and everything else along those lines. What about board meeting minutes? Sometimes there's things that could be made public, but a lot of times there's private conversations go on that don't necessarily need to be made public. So be careful with those as well, particularly with certain decisions and the reasons why. Confidential partnership agreements. I think the word confidential says it all. You basically shouldn't be putting anything up there that has the word confidential in front of it. What about security protocols? Probably don't go around and put up your password sheet and say, hey, check for duplicates here and check to see how strong my passwords are. That's not a good idea. And you probably don't also want to put up system configurations, IP addresses if you're an IT person, or anything else along those lines. Research data. Sometimes you've got some sensitive research findings, or you may have a proprietary study that you're not quite ready to make public yet, or you want to make it public after you've completed a partnership. So those are also some types of things that you don't want to put up there. As well as that, intellectual property. So I believe that our swim lessons are copyrighted. We've also got other things out there, proprietary methodologies, probably trademarks and that. Make sure that that also does not go into an LLM. So private data. Let's think about some of those things. So as an example, employee records, such information like addresses, social security numbers, performance reviews. You probably don't want those things out there because that's a legal problem. What about stuff like member contact information? This is actually, in a lot of states, this is PII, personally identifiable information, and there are legal implications if you actually give that information out. So always protect our members and our member data. Internal communications, again, back to emails. So a lot of emails and there's some sensitive things there. There's reports that you may go around with that aren't public, and internal memos. You don't want to be sharing those types of things. What about HR documents? Pretty much most HR documents you don't want to be up there. One exception, and like this is talking about private data, one exception would be if you're writing policies. That's the perfect place to do those kinds of things. But employment contracts, don't want that to get out there. Disciplinary records, employee benefits information, a lot of that stuff is private and you don't want that getting out there. What about volunteer records? We're all happy about our volunteers, but personal information, background checks on volunteers, that guy got a speeding ticket, you don't want that type of stuff to be out there, again, because you could shame the person, You could bring about a lawsuit, or you could be terminated through doing such things. What about supplier information? So from vendors, contracts and agreements with suppliers or vendors, this is something, basically, if it's got a noun in there, if it's got someone's name, don't put that information up there. That's just a general good rule of thumb to use. What about incident reports? Details of an incident or an accident involving a member or a staff? That's, again, something that could be very sensitive that you don't want to put up there. Training materials. Sometimes we've got some proprietary internal training materials and resources, and so those things should not be shared or put up there. But with the AI Collaborative, pretty much everything we create, we give you the PowerPoint, it's in the Basecamp, we'll give you the video, we'll give you the full text, we'll give you anything you want for you to use as you see fit. Internal financial reports. Sometimes, especially as you're sort of checking year to date, year to budget, and then talking about decisions that need to be made, that type of stuff does not belong up in an artificial intelligence, in an AI. Project proposals. Sometimes proposals don't get approved, and sometimes if you go public with them before, when you're working with someone, they won't be approved because it has been made public. So again, let's make sure that we safeguard our own data as well as other people's. And so now on to public data. So these are the types of things which you should be putting into an LLM and using it to help you create those things. So things like program schedules, that's something that works really well because it's very good at dealing with constraints. And I believe it was in episode number 3 that we got it to create a training schedule and a play schedule for a youth baseball team. Marketing materials, not marketing strategies, but marketing materials such as newsletters, brochures, press releases, anything that you're going to make public, you can get it to help rewrite them. Say, give me a catchy hook line that will bring people in. Community outreach information. So talking about publicly accessible information about community programs and community events that we're doing. Membership information, not information on members, but general membership options, different benefits, and scholarships that we have available. Event announcements. So if we've got some important upcoming public event or activity, get it to help you write those things. Or say, hey, here are 5 that I've written in the past. I really want to change the topic to be a 5K fun run. So I want you to go ahead and use something in a similar style and create that for me. Contact information. So not member contact information, but general contact information about YMCA's, locations, departments, and their hours. Annual reports. So there was the private financial data that you didn't want to share, and now after you've massaged it and got it to be in a good place, then you can put that and the other data into the annual reports. You can also upload 2 different annual reports, one from last year, one from this year, and say, look at the benchmarks and tell me what has changed, what is going better, and come up with some suggestions for how we could correct any problems or things that are doing well to just keep them going on to the next level. Website content. So if it's already out there on the website, you can get it. You can use it to sort of create new documents, or you can use it to rewrite the content. Social media posts. You can really get it to help you write social media posts really well. And you can even write one, like a press release, and say, can you summarize this so that it can become a LinkedIn article, summarize this to go on Facebook, and tell me the hashtags that I can use on Facebook and on LinkedIn, and it will do that for you. Press releases. So anything that's going to be an official statement or an announcement that's going to be released to the press, that is the perfect thing that you can use to put up there. So we've covered public safety with data. We talked about the crown jewels, check. Talked about private data, check. Talked about public data, check. Okay, so why don't we take a quick look at ChatGPT. So with ChatGPT, they do say that you can use a temporary chat. So you can use this temporary chat down here. And what it does is it even says that it's a temporary chat, and at the bottom it will be there and it will be in black. And so theoretically, they're saying we will not train on that data. Personally, do I trust them? No. However, they do claim that they will not train on that data. So that is another option for being able to deal with some more sensitive topics. Who is it who's going to protect the Y? There's one person who can protect the YMCA and their data, and that's the person who's sitting between your screen and the back of your seat. So Uncle Sam needs you to protect the data. So now, things are moving so fast. So you've got to reach out and catch the lightning. Make sure that you protect what matters. Make sure that you have effective data management with ChatGPT and other AIs. So I'm James McIntyre, and I approve this message. So until next week, be good to yourself, and we'll have another video next Tuesday. Thank you.